Hi, and welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm Linda McNamee, and for the next hour, we are going to learn about our future, both in robots and future leadership. But before we begin, I would like to thank the crew for this evening. We have Chris Flaherty, who's a staff member here, making sure that everything runs smoothly, and us volunteers always pay attention and make sure we do everything correctly. Colleen Moore, Liz Gillespie, Jolie Atwood, and Stephanie Floridas. Stephanie, thank you for coming back. We missed you. And they willingly and voluntarily give up their Wednesday evenings to come hang out at BCAT, and I appreciate that. If you have a question for our guests, yes, it is plural. We have 7 guests this evening. I think it's a new record for the show. You can give us a call at 781-270-9199. You can always email me at talk@bcattv.org if you have a question or a suggestion for a future topic. And one more thank you. I want to thank my husband Paul for staying home for Daddy Date Night. Hopefully homework is done and dance class is over and things are settled. So now I would like to introduce you to my wonderful guests for this evening. We have the Space Potatoes, who, okay, you can wave. Go ahead.
Hi.
Wave.
Hi.
Okay. And you guys are a 5th grade robotics team here in Burlington, correct?
Yes.
And your parent advisor, are you advisor coach? Coach. Your coach is Heather Peckham. So thank you, Heather. Thank you, everyone. So let's begin by kind of introducing the whole team so we know who we're talking to. So do you have a particular order you think we should go in, or?
Start here, go around.
Okay. Chris, you're up.
Christopher.
Okay, and where do you go to school?
Pine Glen.
And why did you want to be on a robotics team?
Because I like playing with robots.
Oh, okay, cool. What kind of robots? Like
Legos.
big monster robots or Lego robots? Okay. And we have lovely feedback. And next, or behind you, we have...
I am Rudra Agarwal, and I go to Fox Hill.
And why did you decide you wanted to be on the robotics team?
I'd gone to 2 camps for it during summer, and I really like technology and Legos.
Cool. And we're going to talk about that summer camp a little later on, but let's get through the introductions. Cool? Okay. Next,
I
sir.
am Ron Khalil. I go to Francis Wyman
And why do you like robots? Or why did you want to join the robotics team?
because I like coding, and I went to 2 summer camps with Rudra.
Cool, coding. Oof, I don't even think I could do that. All right, do you want to go, where do you think we should go next? Should we go to Robbie or should we go to Dylan?
Dylan.
Okay. Dylan, you're up.
My name is Dylan Lynch. I go to Francis Wyman with Milan.
And why did you want to be on the robotics team?
I joined because I enjoy building different inventions and things that I've built before, and I sometimes enjoy coding as well.
Cool. And
Hi,
next to you,
I'm Rohit. I go to Francis Wyman with Moran and Dylan. I like robots because about the summer camp, like Rudra and Moran said, it was really fun, so I thought I would join.
Oh, cool. Okay, and last, but definitely not least, holding the dust bunny, we have...
I'm Robbie, and I go to Pine Glen.
And why do you like robots? Or why did you want to join the team?
I just like coding, and I think it's really fun.
Cool. Now, Heather, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, how you came to Burlington, and what made you decide to coach 7, how old are you guys?
5th graders.
5th graders.
11-year-old,
10,
11-year-olds.
Wow, that's a lot. Oh, okay, shoot.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Shelton, Connecticut. I came up to Boston for school. Left for a few years for more school. Then came back. My husband at one point was working for Lockheed Martin in Burlington.
Oh, okay.
So that's what brought us to Burlington. I think so. He's not still there.
Oh, okay.
But that's what
But
brought
you're
us
here anyway.
That's what brought us to Burlington. So yes, and how did we get into this? So as the kids mentioned, the summer camp.
The summer camp,
Yes.
yeah.
So most of them have done this for the past 2 or 3 summers. It's a 2-week program at Memorial School.
Okay. Now, how old do you have to be to go to the summer camp? Is it 5th grade, 4th grade, or
Going into 4th.
going into 4th?
I think
Yeah.
it's going into third.
Actually, it used to be going into 4th, and now I believe it's going into 2nd. They've expanded it.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
wait,
cool.
but it used to be going to third.
Okay.
Now
Oh.
it's 2nd, yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it was quite big this summer. I was
Okay.
really impressed.
So it's
There are
through
a
the
lot of
Science
kids.
Center?
Yes.
Like
it's-
Mr. Musselman?
Mr. Musselman runs it. Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, actually, on the last day of the camp this year, I picked Christopher up, and he had a sheet of paper in his hand that talked about First Lego League, and it said how our middle school has several teams that compete in the First Lego League,
Oh, cool.
and they said that if any parents were willing to coach, they would help sponsor a 5th grade team this year.
Cool.
And
You're like, sign me up.
yes, and he
So
said,
this was your idea, or was it like there? You know, did Chris come home and say, "Mom"?
Oh, he had the sheet. He had the sheet in his hand when I picked him up, and I left his hand. And he named all these guys, and
Cool.
most of them that had been at the camp with them, and they'd all already talked, and they all wanted to form a team.
Cool. So what is involved? Oh, let's back up. First Lego League. Why is it first? Is because there hasn't been any other ones, and why is it? Is there like an association with the Lego Brick Company, or?
Yes, there is. So
Okay.
FIRST is actually an acronym for inspiration and something
Okay,
of
it's an
science and
acronym.
technology. Yeah. It's actually based in New Hampshire. It's an international organization.
Oh,
but it's
cool.
not far.
Okay.
And then Lego League, because they partner with Lego Education. And FIRST is actually goes up through high school, but at the high school level, there's no Legos involved.
Okay.
But for the younger kids, they build robots with Legos, and so that's where the Lego part comes in.
Oh, okay. So you build like the body of the robot, and then have like electronics in it. Is that how
The
like?
electronics are the body, then you build Legos around it.
Oh, okay. And tell me what kind of coding. Okay, you guys were telling me that you like to code. What kind of coding do you do?
It's like you can make a block move forward, and then there's one block where you can make it turn, and you can attach a motor to the robot, and you can code
cool.
it to the spin.
Wow. Okay. Now, I don't know who wants to answer this one, but the robot that you had to build for this competition, did it have to do something in particular?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
everybody wanted to.
They had to do a challenge. Certain
Challenge,
challenges
okay.
On the board.
Dylan, what kind of challenge did it have to do?
There were several that we did.
Okay.
Our favorite was crater crossing.
Crater crossing?
It's when the robot has to push something to ram down like a gate.
Okay.
So we used the robot. We tried to use a color sensor. We took that off, and then we had to go through. We had to put it together. It was just a plain robot with a body and wheels,
Okay.
and we had to go forward, and we had it ram down the gate, and
Okay. So you said that was your favorite assignment. So there were others? Somebody else want to talk about? Okay, go
So
ahead.
there were 15 different missions where we
Holy
had
cow.
to accomplish, and each mission was like a certain amount of points depending
Okay.
on how hard the mission was.
So one robot had to do all 15, or was it like different
It
competitions?
you can do any amount of missions, any kind of missions,
Okay.
but you have to like you're aiming to get as much points as possible.
Okay.
So like there are different missions where you like maybe push something up so the cart goes down.
Okay.
You have to like hit something so the rocket can go up. And like Dylan said, there's crater crossing where you run over something to push down the ramp. So if it's like maybe a hard challenge,
Okay.
it would
See, that'd all
like-
be hard to me. You
yeah.
know, especially when you mentioned like rockets. Okay, somebody else is going to have to tell me more about rockets, but no, let him finish up. Hold on.
So like if it was a hard challenge, like hitting something down with just a robot,
Okay.
that might be that was probably more points. But if you're just like maybe pushing something, that wouldn't be as much points.
Okay.
So you have only a certain amount of time to do all missions.
Okay.
You have 2.5 minutes to do all of the missions.
That's not a lot of time to do each project.
Yeah.
Okay, now who's behind you? Yep, go ahead.
Like Ru just said, you only have 2.5 minutes. It's really intense. And you want to get the highest number of points as possible. But sometimes the missions don't work there. It's like a 50-50
Okay.
anytime.
We have some pictures we sent you.
Oh, yeah,
show
let's
them.
take a look at
And
some of those
we-
pictures.
we-
No, wait, before we look at the pictures, when was this competition?
January 8th,
January 8th.
December.
2018.
December
Oh, yeah,
8th. Okay.
December 18th.
Yeah, January 8th was like yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's take a look at some of the pictures. They're probably in no particular order. Oh, that looks fun. Is that like after the competition or is that like before?
right before.
Right before.
So the theme
Getting all
this
the
year
silly
was
stuff.
into orbit.
I-
So
oh.
all of the missions had to do with space.
Okay, so hence the crater crossing
Rocket.
and, okay, I want to find out more about the
Right.
rocket. Let's take a look at another picture.
So this is them walking into their first robot mission competition.
Okay.
The robots in
Is that the
All
robot
right,
like in,
that's-
oh, that's a table. What kind of
Yep.
table is that? So it's,
That's their competition table. You
Just
guys
a
want to
regular
explain it?
table with a wooden board on it.
Yeah, it has
Okay.
all the missions.
it's got all the missions. Is it like
Yeah.
a map that you have to follow on the table or?
So if
It's
you
kind of like a big map with challenges on certain parts of the map.
Okay, now do you get this table in advance so you know kind of what to follow along?
No,
or?
they give us the table, and there's like a mat, which it has like all Lego pieces, which they constructed. And then there's a mat where we practiced at Heather's house. We got
Okay.
a mat to practice.
Oh,
So we
okay.
could code the robot before the competition.
Okay, yeah, Robbie, what do you want to add?
When we got the Legos, they came in separate boxes numbered with the mission that they are.
Oh,
And you had to
okay.
make the each like challenge. So like for the crater crossing thing, you had to make the wall, and like when you push it down, like make it able to be pushed down.
Okay.
And like you only got the mat to know where to put them, so you had
Okay.
to like you got these little stick things where like sticky things that you put down to connect the Lego pieces to the mat so they would stay.
Oh, okay. So you said each mission or each job that this robot had to do, you got a separate kit?
well, they came in like one
the package.
giant box,
Okay.
and like all like regular Lego sets, they came in those like plastic packets labeled like Mission 1, Mission 2,
Okay, so
Mission
you
3.
could build one robot with all of the Legos in this box that does all the missions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that actually took the first couple weeks of the season was just
Okay.
to build the board.
So when is this, when is the season?
We
What's-
started September.
Okay.
And then
Like
practice
school
right
year?
after- Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they send you that big mat that you saw that with the purple and
Okay.
the blue, and it's 8 feet by 4 feet.
Wow.
And the
okay.
Science Center actually built us a border for that with a flat wooden bottom and the sides
okay.
because you need that to put in it, just like you'll get at the tournament. So the Science Center built that for us. Mr. Musselman came and delivered it to our house. Rudra's dad actually then came over. He
Wow.
found some imperfections in the bottom and filled them in, came back and
You're
sanded
probably
them
happy
down.
to get your living room back, you
Yeah.
know, this 8x4 thing.
The,
It's like the size of my first apartment.
Right. Yes, it was our playroom. It was taken over by this. So, what Rudra's dad did was make it perfectly smooth because any imperfections could make the robot do something different. And so then when the kids had to build all the stations for the missions, they had to build them perfectly and place them perfectly because they
Okay.
train the robot at home, but then they bring their robot and put it on the tournament board, a different board.
Okay.
And so if you've built your board at all differently than them, then your robot will
so
miss.
the one at the competition probably had a few imperfections and.
Well, hopefully not, but
Oh, okay.
yeah. And hopefully ours don't either. But yeah, that is part of it.
Well, you can always take the extra time, like you said. Rudra's dad like made it nice and smooth and everything, and
Right.
so you don't get to use your own mat. It's
No.
But the layout should be the same, right?
It should be exactly the same. Yeah,
Okay.
and that's your job is to make your practice mat exactly the same.
Okay. So at the competition itself, do you guys have the chance to like reprogram your robot at all if it doesn't?
Well, well, yeah, kind of. But you're not allowed to bring iPads. Everything has to be on the robot when you're going to do the tournament.
Okay, and most of the coding is probably done through the iPad?
Yeah.
All of
Yeah.
it.
Like
Okay.
if you
Because,
use your
like-
iPad and you run a code, it saves that code to the robot.
Okay.
So you're not allowed to bring your iPad, just the robot. So you just go scroll down the list and you click on the
Okay.
code you want it to run.
Ooh, okay.
Even if you like, if your robot, if you're like in the middle of doing a mission and
Okay.
it doesn't work, you can't just like take your iPad, fix the code up, and do it because it's way too It's like really risky, and you're not even allowed to do that.
Okay, so what would you do
If
if,
the
halfway through the competition your robot decided that it didn't want to cross a crater or anything?
Well, if it stopped and it can't get back to base, like
Okay.
the base is where it has to come back to
Okay.
like start a new mission. So you would take your hand and bring it back, but that would take away three of your points.
Oh, okay.
And each time you do that, it's considered a penalty. And once you get 6 penalties, you're out.
Okay. Well, not that you want to do that,
Yeah.
but if your robot stopped working, you'd have to do something. So.
You certainly can. Yeah.
Unless it's like near the end. And,
Okay.
like you could just leave it out there just to save 3 points if it's near the end.
Near the end. Okay,
Right.
but if it's near the beginning, you
Yeah.
kind of want to, risk
Yeah.
it.
But they got to do their 2.5 minutes of missions. They got to do that 4 times. And so each
Okay.
team keeps their highest score.
Okay,
So
so
you-
it's like a
yeah.
highest score. It's not like an average of all the scores.
Right. So you
Okay.
can, do your first mission. If it falls apart, you can go meet as a team and,
Okay.
make any decisions you want to change things in between.
Now, with the jobs or the missions that it goes on, do you guys get to choose the order of the missions, or does it have to be like first, second?
We can do.
You
the
can
missions.
choose the order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you guys make a decision with 6 of you, Robbie?
In the beginning, we all worked on different missions because we had 2 robots, so we were working on different missions. And
Okay.
at the end, we combined them onto one iPad so that then we could make it on one robot.
Okay.
And an example of not doing them in order is most people did the food production mission and then an observatory mission.
Okay.
But the way we did it the other way around.
Okay.
So you don't have to do them in order. If you want to, you can, but you just don't have to.
Now, was it hard kind of making a decision among all 6 of you? Because all 6 of you have, I'm sure, have 6 different opinions.
Not
Yes.
kind of, but like we kind of agreed like the hardest, all of them had an attachment to do a mission
Okay.
and then come back to home to base. So there's like different attachments for different missions. So we started with the hardest attachment, which was the solar panel, and then for each mission we had 2 people, like me and Moran for one, and then me and Rudra, then like that.
Okay.
So like
So did this solar panel like power your robot, or was it just like
it's a mission.
it's
It's
a
just
mission?
a mission.
Like
They
you
had
just,
to push a solar panel.
Oh, okay.
so it faces a different way.
I thought it had to
Right.
like unfold a solar panel and
Right.
We like we kind of decided a robot's route in a way that like, so if a mission was like all the way across the board,
Okay.
you might not want to do that one first. Like you might want to go along like you do this mission, go do this mission,
Okay.
then maybe come back. You can come back to base with your robot as many times as you want, but it also depends on like how many attachments a mission needs, like the solar panel.
Okay.
As Rahit said, that was pretty hard. So the attachment had to go in one go, come back to base, because you couldn't really use.
Now,
the
when it comes
attachment.
back to base, can you take off an
Yes.
attachment?
Base
You
is
could-
where you can touch it and stuff.
Okay,
Okay,
so that's
that's
when, if you had to bring it back to base, you touched it early, so you were penalized.
Right. And First Lego League allows what they call technicians. So 2 students at a time can be at the table touching the robot in base.
Okay.
And so actually one of the things I love about this team is that most teams assign 2 people and they do the whole thing. while the rest of the team stands by and watches.
Okay.
What these guys did is they all went up there and they took turns and they had to coordinate that, and they didn't want to lose any time because you have
Well,
2.5 minutes, every second counts.
Okay.
But yeah, each of them did either 1 or 2 missions. They did them all in pairs.
Okay.
And they knew exactly when they had decided all the points where if it passes this point, we're going to let it finish no matter what. If
Okay.
it doesn't pass this point, we're going to try to redo it. Some of the missions that are quick, if they fail, we had a plan
Oh,
to
so
redo
you can
them.
redo.
You can.
Okay.
And some of them that are real fast, if it
Okay.
didn't do it, we had a plan to try it one more time.
Okay.
And others had a plan that if they fail before a certain point, we'll try it again. But once they're past a certain point, it goes. And so they all knew exactly when to interchange with each other and
Okay.
be out of there and be ready for the next one. And I don't think they lost a single second.
Wow.
By all of them doing it.
So I'm going to ask you all a question now to give everybody a chance to talk one at a time. What was the most challenging part of this whole experience for you?
One thing that was challenging was when we were coding, getting the turns exactly correctly because you had to do like 0 point something rotations to like get the turn to go perfectly where you want it.
Okay.
So
Was it
that
like a
you
number
can-
of angles or was it?
Like it was a number of like rotations of the
Okay.
wheel, how many times
Oh,
the wheel goes
ooh,
around,
okay.
and you had to get it perfect so that your mission would do it right.
Okay. What was your most challenging?
One of the challenging things that I think is the color, is the light sensor. It senses like light, like it can sense any color on the board. So, but what happens is, so say we code to sense black. It can sense any kind of black. So you don't know what the next move is.
Oh.
It could, like for
There are lots of shades of black.
yeah,
Yeah,
on
there
the
are.
board. So like the food production, one, and what's the other one? Observatory. We had sense the black line then turn. Sometimes it would sense a different kind of black and then turn, which will mess up the whole mission.
Because once one thing messes up, it's like a domino
Yeah.
effect
Right.
kind of thing.
And like Robbie said, the turns we have to get them perfect or else they won't work. Sometimes negatives.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they actually put black lines on the board strategically so that you
okay.
can use them as guides and sense them. But I think also
But it can-
strategically, they made a very dark board this year.
Oh.
So you have to be really careful about when and where you were sensing and how you were sensing.
So instead
And
of
shadows
using
and
the
everything.
color
Yeah.
ability,
Okay.
we use the light intensity.
Okay.
So like how much light reflects off that color that it's seeing. So like black was like 13. So we
Okay.
did like 13 equal to or less than 13. Then it
Okay.
would do a spin.
Okay. Well, I want to hear what Dylan's most challenging part was.
The competition.
The competition itself. What, like the number of teams, or?
I was stressed out just because that's how I felt. I thought that was the
It's like performing, kind of like anxiety. Is the robot gonna work?
yeah.
That
Kind of.
kind of
I was
thing?
very stressed that day. I think we all were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did you start to relax when the competition actually started? Because sometimes, like anticipation.
When I saw how good you did each time, I started to relax a bit.
Oh, okay.
But it was still, I was still
Okay.
stressed out.
Do you think you'd still get stressed the next time around, or do you think the next
Less
time it'll be a
stress.
little
Less-
easier? Little easier.
Little bit easier each time.
Okay. All right. Which one of you guys wants to go next?
I think one of the most challenging parts would be like kind of right when we're going to like when we went to the last round for us
Okay.
because like it felt like it was really stressful because it was our last shot and maybe getting more
Oh, yeah.
points.
Like this is it.
Yeah, and like you have to align the robot correct
Okay.
because everything has a starting point.
Okay.
like, like it starts here and it does this. If you get the starting point wrong, then it could go somewhere else and maybe fail. So like that was really stressful if we got it right, or like maybe we turned it too much to left or to right.
Okay, the whole wheel thing that Robbie was
Yeah.
referring. Oh, ooh, okay. What was your challenge of the season?
Mine was the observatory and food production mission, because that was 2 missions combined. So
Okay.
first it would go do the observatory mission and then do a turn like that and
Okay.
then push the food production.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes the food production didn't work because you had to push it a certain amount to get green.
Okay, like a certain distance?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And that was kind of hard to code, or?
Yeah.
Not too far and not too short.
Ooh.
Yeah, we have to do 0.5 to, right?
Somewhere around
This
there.
sounds
Yeah.
like it's pretty detailed, exactly a rotation of the wheel, exactly this far.
Oh, I think we all have a newfound respect for robotics after this. That you can program something and it'll work 12 times in a row, and then the next time it just does not work.
So it's not just me. Christopher, what is your most challenging or stressful part of the whole competition?
Building working attachments that are easy to put on and take off.
Wow. Okay. So let's get back to like the team formation. Actually, I want to know why you were called the Space Potatoes, because you guys aren't the only Space Potato team, are you? No. There's another one.
Yeah.
But you guys have cooler shirts,
Yeah,
right?
Burlington Middle School, actually.
Okay.
They are also the Space Potatoes.
So did you plan having the same name?
No. In fact, so Bobby, he calls himself a potato, and he was actually a potato for Halloween.
Okay.
So he kept thinking of potatoes and all the stuff like that. He kept bringing up potatoes, and for Cub Scouts, most of us are in Cub Scouts, and we were the Savage Potatoes.
Savage Potatoes. Why do I keep flaming potatoes or something in my head?
At that, that's because that was our patch.
Oh, okay. So you're
So-
Savage Potatoes for Scouts.
We were. Now
You
we're
were.
something else.
Okay.
So, and then Robbie found this online.
It was this image, and since the theme of this year for robotics was into orbit with space, we were thinking
Okay.
about space potatoes, and this is a potato with an astronaut helmet on, and it was just a normal one, but when you invert colors, the potato's like skin looks like a galaxy almost.
Oh,
So that's why we did it.
cool. Oh, I didn't recognize the face on the potato before either. So it's got like a little face. Oh, right. Wow, that sounds cool. Now, you guys happen to have 6 people on your team. Does it have to be 6? Can it be 4? Can it be 7?
It's like it's like about like 5 to 10 or something.
Okay.
4 to 10.
4 to 10?
Yep.
Okay.
I saw a team with 2 people.
Really?
And I saw a team with like 20 people.
Wow.
Was a team with one person?
No, the team with 20
No,
people
that-
came with their whole fan base, maybe.
No, because
No, Chris.
every single one of them were up there.
Now,
wearing the
did you
shirt.
guys
But it
just
was-
kind of instantly form your team because a lot of you guys knew each other through Scouts and
Yeah.
through the summer
School.
camp?
Yeah, basically
So you're like,
that.
okay,
really good
we got a
friends.
team. We work well together. Did that help, like, knowing you guys before you started your team?
Yeah.
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 Robbie didn't know how to code,
Okay.
so we taught him how to code.
Cool.
Now he
And-
can code really well.
And now he's the expert.
And now he's like an expert. Yeah.
There you go. Excellent. So you are a coach.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Now, when we were talking earlier, you mentioned a coach versus a mentor. Now, as a coach, in order to qualify to be a coach, did you have to know how to code robots and all this kind of stuff? Or
Oh, not at all.
what's the difference between coach and mentor?
So a coach basically just takes responsibility for the team. We
Okay.
actually have 2 coaches. Rudra's mother, Reshma, was also a coach.
Okay.
And so we we're the responsible adults there. We
Making
plan-
sure they don't set the house on fire.
Right, we
kind of thing.
plan,
Okay.
make the schedule and, help guide them through the practices and all that. What's that? And a mentor is someone, it can be a varying range. For example, Ron's mom, Shazia, she was a mentor, but she was actually at every single practice, and she was a huge asset to the team, basically serving as a coach.
Okay.
And Rudra's dad, Ritesh, refer to him as a mentor. He came to a few practices. He's an engineer. He
Okay, so
helped
the
them.
mentor kind of has more subject
Right,
experience or knowledge.
exactly. And but the coaches don't really have to have any particular experience. Anyone can do it. Actually, Reshma and I don't even know how to code these
You're
robots.
just like crowd control, and the mentors
Yeah.
kind of make sure that the robots do all of their missions.
Yeah. I mean, we learned a lot as we went. I say I know about this much about EV3 programming from these guys, but they came knowing it all. They spent a couple practices teaching Robbie, and then he picked up more as we went.
Excellent.
But these guys are the experts, and that's what made it work. That they don't,
Okay.
that they had already done this a few times.
Now, you had also told me before that the way the program is run, it's the kids do all the work.
Yes, that's a rule.
So
Coaches are not allowed to do any of the work.
We're kind of two questions. How did you motivate them, and were you guys already interested in doing this, or did you want to do it, or how did that work?
I wasn't exactly sure when I first started, but I used to do like small programs of 1 day a week,
Okay.
and this was like 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And it turned out from that much to this much, I had a blast.
Cool.
Me too. I had a blast. I liked my teammates. Well, of course, I see these guys every
Well, you see
single
'em
day.
every
But
day.
then I met him.
So this will actually help you guys out next year in middle school because you're all going to
Yeah.
be going to the same school.
Mhm.
So you'll get to see each other and you'll already know like other people.
Just like Dylan said, it was a blast.
Cool. So I take it you'd do it again.
Yeah.
Oh,
If we could have the same team, I would have the same
If we
team.
could have the same team, I'd get the same team.
We could do the same team next year.
Yeah,
It
Heather,
depends
will
if
you be our
other
coach next
people
year
would do it
too?
too.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
fun.
Tell me a
some
little
of
bit
my
more
class
about the summer camp because
Sure.
as a follow-up after you tell me about summer camp, I want to ask you about how what you learn here, can you apply any of it at school? Does that make sense?
So the summer
So
camp,
tell me more about the summer camp. Why did you decide to take the summer camp? How long is it? What do you do at summer camp?
is basically, it's held by Mr. Musselman.
Okay.
He works at the science center. So we go to camp, and for like the beginners who
Is it like a week?
it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay.
Every day for 2 weeks.
Ooh. Okay.
So yeah, we got 14 days of that. So in the like first week, we like start to learn how to code. People who
Okay.
don't know catch up, and just to practice, we like make the robot go in a circle or go in a square,
Okay.
just to get into that.
Is it still like Lego robots at the
Yes.
summer camp?
The same
Okay.
type of it.
Then in the second week, we like if there was like an into orbit challenge last year in September, then
Okay.
during the summer, like maybe this year,
Mhm.
they'll do that.
Okay, so the summer camp knows in advance what the
Yeah.
fall challenge will be?
They actually take since they've already purchased all of these mats and kits for the middle school team,
Oh,
middle school teams. They have several of them.
Teams. Okay, wow.
They
Okay.
use them the following summer for the elementary school summer camp.
Oh,
So
Okay.
this coming summer, they'll do these missions. Last summer, these guys did the missions from the previous year.
okay, so your competition, I'm just trying to make sense of it all. Your competition is not the same as what the middle school's teams were doing, or it was?
It's
the
the
same
same
Exactly.
thing.
It is the same
If we
thing.
were in the same tournament.
Okay, now did you compete against the middle school teams as well, or was it
Well,
just like
some
all
of
we
fifth
went
grade?
to a different tournament than them.
Okay,
But we compete
It's
against middle
any
schoolers.
age.
Oh, you did compete against
Yeah.
middle
I'm
schoolers.
pretty
Okay,
sure
just
we
not.
competed
not
with
the
a couple of high schoolers.
Yeah.
Really?
There was like a
Wow.
team of like 4 or 5 high schoolers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
Cool.
Remember the purple shirted guys?
Or
And
the robot wizards.
Yeah, the robot
yeah,
wizards.
and there was
Yeah.
another group that
Well, at first I thought you said robot lizards. I'm like, what?
Robot wizards,
I
yeah.
have a button for
The,
that.
Okay. Oh, so
Yeah.
you get
Me
buttons
too.
made.
So there was actually, I believe, 336 teams in Massachusetts this year,
Wow.
and there was 12 qualifiers. That some about 30% of the teams from each qualifier move on to the state championships,
Okay.
and so we just happened to go to a different qualifier than the middle school teams. We could have gone to the same one,
Oh, okay.
but we went to a different one than they did
Okay. By choice or coincidence?
by scheduling conflict.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah,
scouts
that
had to
kinda
camp out,
makes-
so.
So what did you want to?
We had lots of practices before, like in the month of November. We had like lots of practices
Okay.
to get ready, and in the last like week or something, we just went.
You just camped out at Christopher's house.
No,
No.
what we did was yeah, that would have been fun, but we
Yeah, probably not for Heather.
didn't. Yeah. So what we did was like we timed ourselves to see how much minutes we can do all the missions.
Oh, okay. And
As a like, what's it called? Wait, I can't know. I don't know the name.
well, on that note, you know, while you're thinking about it, you said that you kept doing it to time yourselves.
Yeah, to get better, like to practice that.
What would be one thing that you had to do to make it faster? Ronnie?
We have to put on different attachments, and
Okay.
practicing, we get to like practice taking off the attachments and putting them back on, and like aligning the robot in the right spot, like
Okay.
as fast as we can, so that we don't like miss any time,
Okay.
and like switching people so that we don't waste any time at all.
Okay. So it wasn't necessarily recoding the robot to go faster. It was humans going faster.
Like
And if
Right.
you made the robots go faster, it'll be more unpredictable.
True.
And another way you can go faster is doing multiple missions in one run before, so you don't have to come back to base every single time.
Okay. Now, did you guys combine multiple missions in one run, or did you decide
For one
to?
of
We
the
combine one
Wait,
mission.
hold on.
We combine one mission, the observatory and food production.
Okay, so that was your choice. That wasn't necessarily a requirement.
yeah,
Yeah.
like Robbie said, we're really good talkers. Like we need to communicate between people. So once our mission, so say it just goes forward and backwards. Once it completes the mission,
Okay.
the people just go back, and then the next two sets going. But say, I have the next mission to do. Like I'm doing a mission, and then I stay there for another mission. I just stay there,
Okay.
and then the other guy comes back, and then the next guy comes.
Okay.
It's a rotation process.
Okay, so let's back up to the summer camp thing. So summer camp's 2 weeks, so you kind of, I already forgot. It is the same as what you're going to be doing in the fall, so you kind of get to practice
The
in
previous
advance.
years.
It is the previous years.
So
Okay.
What we did right now is it's going to be the same thing when we go to summer camp in the summer.
Okay. And then it'll be a new surprise in September
Yeah.
if you guys choose to do this again.
Right.
Oh, okay. So, is there stuff that you learned through robotics, either coding or, you know, construction or just interpersonal skills that you can use in school now? Let's start with Dylan this time.
I did actually learn. I had no idea that. I always thought that the speaker was an attachment. That was never in any case I had. But Milan taught me that it was actually the brain that made the noise. Because I never ever
brain?
used sound before. The
Yeah.
brain is the EV3 brick that controls everything.
It's like
Everybody calls it the brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a
It's
mini
basically
computer that's
the
fine.
human
Hold
brain
on.
that we download our codes onto.
Oh.
Yeah, the
okay.
brain that has all the information. So say we have to turn it off, we turn it off on the brain.
Okay.
Everything is connected to the brain. All wires,
Just like us.
Yeah.
all wires, everything's connected to the brain.
So how does this help you, like, in what you're doing at school, at all? I mean, is there any experience that you had during this process that you can use at school?
Yes, because at my
Yes.
school there's an EV, there's
There's a brain. No.
No, we get to design our own missions entirely. One time I got it to follow this green maze thing
Cool.
with tape. Milan was there too.
Yeah.
He
So
made
wait, you
it
actually
go-
do robot coding at school?
Yeah, it's fun.
Sometimes they have
Cool.
programs at school that where you could, like, for a few weeks, like maybe like 1 day a week for a few weeks.
Okay.
You could play with EV3 robots.
Okay, so this is like during school. This isn't like an after-school program.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
an
this
after
is
school.
after
It is after
program.
school. Okay.
But my mom actually runs it,
Cool.
so she knows quite a bit about EV3s.
Okay. Tell me something else that you can adapt from what you learned here to
It's
school.
the same thing as most coding websites. Is you get blocks that say different things to do,
Okay.
and you set them up with different like things with the start command, and
Okay.
the blocks have they say what it's gonna do.
Okay.
So there's many websites that you use in school that are basically the same.
All right.
So it just helps you with that also.
Cool. Anybody else have anything to add?
At the summer camp, Mr. Musselman also taught us, like, he brought us into a room and showed us how to use, like, different, like, sensors. Like, for instance, the light sensor and the gyro sensor.
Okay. You know what, guys? Somebody actually called in. Do you want to take a question from our audience?
Sure.
All right. Who do we have on the phone? Hello. Thank you for calling. Do you have a question for our guests?
I do have a question.
Okay, we can't quite hear you. I'm hoping that.
Okay, I was wondering if the voice has to do anything other than just the robot.
Something about just. Did you guys? Okay.
Hello?
Hi. Yeah, I think your TV is. We're getting some feedback. Is your question, did they learn anything not related to robots?
I was wondering if they had to do anything other than just program the robot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't hear them either.
Really hard to hear, but I think the question was, did you learn anything not related to robots?
Yes.
Yes.
We learned
Yes.
about the research project. So what
Research. Oh, tell me about a
the
research project. Okay.
project is like, so,
So you actually had to learn how to do research.
yeah, we had to learn
Okay.
research. So it's about, so the topic was about space. So it has to be like a space problem and how we
So you got to choose your own problem?
yeah, and how
Okay.
we solved it. So what happened was Moran, he brought in a skit one day, which
A
had
skit.
yeah,
Okay.
a skit. Like there were different parts, like narrator, astronaut,
Scientist.
botanist.
So is this a skit that you created, that you wrote?
Yeah, I wrote the skit and then we modded it after.
Okay.
It's about growing plants in space.
Oh,
Our
okay.
topic
Yeah,
was
with
problems
loofah
of
plants.
food in space.
Problems
Yeah.
with food
Because
in
they
space. So you had to
dehydrate
research, you did a skit on problems
Yeah.
with food in space.
And for homework, we had to like research about like say we wanted to do like a greenhouse to grow all plants,
Okay.
but because soil costs $1,800, just 1 pound,
Wow.
so we used loofahs, which are way lighter.
Loofahs.
Loofah
As in
sponges.
sponges.
Yes.
That worked?
Yeah.
we
So you actually had to grow plants in
in
sponges.
sponges.
Yes.
Which
So
worked.
where did you come up with this idea to use a sponge? Robbie, did you have some?
Well, with Moran's skit, he brought that in, but we did an experiment of growing, like seeds inside of a loofah sponge and
Okay.
just a normal sponge, and most of the plants grew better in the loofah sponge.
Okay.
So
There's actually a picture of that we sent in.
Oh,
yeah.
is there a picture of that?
It's
Okay.
the last one of the Encore research presentation. if that helps them find it.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I don't know who's directing. Jolie, can we find the picture of the loofah sponges?
So these guys had to give a 5-minute presentation to the judges on their research project. That's where they did the skit.
Oh, wow.
And then 5
okay.
minutes of questions and answers. There's
There you go.
Yep.
that's
there
lettuce
you go.
grown in a loofah sponge.
What are you growing?
Lettuce.
Lettuce.
Lettuce?
Yeah.
I know.
Kind
Lettuce
of looks
grows-
like beet sprouts.
And then there's some more pictures of their encore presentation.
Okay.
So there were 26 teams at the tournament, and they selected the top 10 research presentations to give an encore presentation on stage in front of the entire audience. And so they were selected as one of those 10 teams.
Oh, awesome.
And there's some pictures there where it shows them on stage, and they got to give their encore presentation, and it was great because all the families got to see it. There they are.
Oh, there they are. Cool. Oh, you have. Oh,
Who's that?
I'm not in that one.
Neither am I.
Oh,
Are you in that one?
There I am.
Okay.
Standing in the middle.
I'm the one.
It's me.
Okay, so you guys look like. What are the helmets for?
They're
Astronaut
supposed to be
helmets.
astronaut helmets.
Oh, there's. Okay, I'm
So
sorry.
we didn't want to
Another
spend too much like money and stuff.
Well,
so we
yeah,
just
you
took
know,
bite-
you
bite
need to be
helmets.
thrifty and
Yeah.
reuse.
Another
Okay.
challenge that we had was memorizing the skit. We didn't use paper. We had to memorize this whole
Oh,
thing by
so
heart.
you also had to be actors.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
How many how long was the skit? 2 minutes? What did you say? 10 minutes?
Had to be under 5 minutes.
Under 5 minutes.
got-
Okay,
it took
so
us, like,
give
3.5
me,
minutes.
you wrote the skit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me like a brief synopsis of what this skit was about.
Robbie, you're on.
Robbie, you're on.
Oh, Robbie.
Robbie,
You
start.
wrote this skit.
Start.
Okay, Robbie, give me like a 30-second synopsis, book report of what the skit was about.
Oh, we're not doing the skit? Oh, okay.
No, you don't have to do the skit. I just want to know what the skit's about.
There were 3 different astronauts. It was Rudra, Rohit, and Christopher, and they came in at different times asking different questions, and either Moran or Dylan answered their questions.
Okay.
And like, let's say one of the questions was like, why are you using loofah sponges? Moran would answer to his question, and then like at the end when Rudra was done talking, I would say that astronaut 1 left, and then the astronaut 2 entered the greenhouse.
Okay.
So I was the narrator and saying the transitions,
Oh,
and
okay.
something at the end ish was a fact was that the first vegetable grown on in space was a potato, and when we said that, we all said it together, and at the end when we were saying like that who the skit was by,
In honor
in honor of the first vegetable grown by the in honor of the first vegetable grown in outer space, today's skit is brought to you by the space potatoes. And at the end, we all said potatoes at the same time. for it.
Now, when you named the team Space Potatoes, did you know that?
No.
So this is just like,
A coincidence.
Coincidence.
wow.
I have a fun fact.
Okay.
You know how we're trying to grow foods in space?
Okay.
NASA's doing the same thing, but we brought it a step ahead and used loofahs.
What are they using in space? Do you know?
Oh no.
No. Okay. Well, isn't Miss Pavlicek like doing hydroponics where it's just water?
Yeah.
So do you think is that because of like the experiments in space?
I don't know.
Robbie, what do you?
With the loofah sponges, if you let a normal loofah seed grow for a little bit,
Okay.
you can get it to be a normal edible plant.
Oh wow.
But if you leave it for longer, it's like you can harvest it as an actual sponge, so that you can grow more food inside of that.
Wow. Now, did you actually like try growing stuff until you could harvest it?
No,
Or
we
you
were
just kinda
trying to grow a
gave it
loofah,
up?
but inside of the normal sponge, it wasn't working very well. So we were gonna try. So we just didn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as part of your research, how did you know what plants you should try growing into a loofah sponge?
We first got the idea of doing this entire thing from the
Burlington.
Boston
Oh, yeah.
Science Center.
Oh,
Museum.
okay.
The Museum of Science.
Museum.
Oh,
Museum,
okay, so you did a field trip to the Museum of Science?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, tell me about that.
We walked around. We were taking notes. I completely forgot to take notes because I was so
Whoops.
amazed by it all. So I was sticking with Moran, so he took our notes for us both. And almost me and him and Rudra and Rohit and I even think Robbie all were taking notes on the plant thing.
No, I wasn't taking notes. I'm like, can we just do food?
Okay, so there was, at the Museum of Science, there was like a plant exhibit?
It was
No,
a space
it
exhibit.
There was a
like-
space exhibit.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
then
Missed that.
and then I asked, can we just do food because it really fascinated me.
So
What
we
we
all
watched
said,
in
yeah,
there.
sure,
Let's go.
why not?
Oh, okay.
Plus, most
all-
of us have taken notes on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
basically.
it also showed dehydrated food
Okay.
that were like, so you can.
Like astronaut food, they dehydrate everything so it doesn't take up as much room?
No, well, like it lasts longer.
Oh, okay.
But
Did you guys like try freeze-dried ice cream or something? That was
No.
like my favorite when I
Oh,
was like,
I actually have that at my house right now. I'm saving it for a good time to eat it.
Hey, can you do it to me?
don't get your hopes up too high. It kind of tastes like styrofoam.
No, it tastes great. I've already had it before.
So
It
they
tastes
went. They
great.
went to the Museum of Science at the beginning of the season.
Okay.
Good idea.
Did all their
Yeah. It
research,
was-
put their
It was
skit
actually
together,
space food.
and then late in the season, after they had done a lot of preparation on their project,
Okay.
they actually went to a local biotech company on their day off from school,
Oh, cool.
and they presented to about 12 scientists and engineers. They presented their skit to
Wow.
them to
Okay.
get feedback from them on their
Before the
presentation.
competition?
Yep, on their
Okay.
presentation and on their material.
Wow.
And then they also did a phone conference with a biologist who's working with NASA.
Cool.
They got a lot of input from that scientist
Okay,
as well.
so how did you get all these connections? Did you just randomly show up at the Museum of Science because you knew they had a space exhibit? Yes, I know you want to talk. And how did you get the contact with the biotech company, and
The
how did you
biotech
find somebody
company
that
is
worked
her
with?
company.
Heather works
Oh,
there.
you worked
Yeah, I
there.
worked there.
And Heather
Okay.
knew the guy from NASA, and Heather was looking at stuff to see any place where they had an exhibit on space or anything, and
Okay.
the science museum happened to have one.
Which I think just ended this past weekend.
It did, yeah. It was good
So-
timing.
One of our biggest, strongest materials were Heather because she helped us a lot.
Okay.
Thanks, Rita.
Well, that's why she's the coach.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we never realized that.
Yeah, dude.
Just
Now,
thought she was being really nice.
yeah.
okay. Research project, design review. Oh, looking at Heather's notes, there's something called core values. So you guys had to solve a
We
challenge
had to.
as a team. No, 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 hold on. Go ahead.
So we had to solve a challenge, which was lining up in order from the oldest to the youngest, without talking.
Within your
Or
group.
writing.
Yeah, without our group, without talking or writing.
How'd you
Without
do
any
that?
source of communicating.
They didn't care if we solved the problem. They looked at how we worked as a team because it's called
Okay.
core values. There's something called core samples in the, what's it called?
Mission.
Yeah, the mission.
Mission.
And then there's core values where you have to work as a team. So every practice we used to use core values.
Okay. How did you guys communicate with each other to figure out birthdays?
We don't know.
We
With
know
just our fingers.
Yeah,
They basically
we knew
got us all
Rudra.
right.
We knew
Except
Rudra.
Milan was confused with one other person.
Yeah.
And it turns out Milan was the youngest the entire time.
Yep.
In the right order, then it was Maran, Robbie, me, but Maran, we should have taken him out and put him at the end. Then it would have been right.
Oh,
Deserve to be at the
okay.
end.
I
You know
am
what,
the
guys?
shortest and
We're going to try a phone call again because I think there's either, we do have another call, but I think they have to turn their TV down because we're getting feedback again.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's see, do we have a question from our wonderful audience? Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, turn your TV down though, just in case, because we are getting some feedback. Do you have a question for our guests?
Yes, I would like to ask the kids what is the most memorable moment for them?
I was just getting to that. Thank you. What is the most memorable moment?
Memorable moment for them.
Okay,
My friends.
your friends. These guys or new friends?
Him.
Okay, well, what about it? Would you not be friends with him? Or?
Yeah, I would not know him at all. I knew everyone else besides him.
Oh, okay, so new friends. Okay,
And-
Dylan. Oh, continue.
And I really liked how the competition was. It was really fun. We celebrated a lot. Really fun.
Excellent.
Again.
Dylan, what was your most memorable experience?
I have two.
Okay.
Three. I'm not sure. Hanging out with my friends.
Okay.
I know. And I enjoyed the competition as well.
Okay.
As much as I was stressed out, like I said earlier, it was really fun.
Well, looking back, it's always a little easier too. Now, you said you had 3. Does that?
And my third one is normally I would just build and design. And one year I had to do almost everything. I had to code, I had to design and everything. This year I was hoping to diet down on the coding, but I ended up trying to remake an entire code.
Ooh, wow.
That didn't work, but I did make some good editing with
cool.
core samples.
Cool samples.
Okay, Robbie, what was your most memorable experience about, or what's the biggest takeaway from the robotics team?
I don't really know. It was just all very fun in general. So it was, everything was fun.
Cool. Okay, who's the next volunteer?
I think the most memorable moment was like when almost like every time after we got a mission done 3 times in a row straight, we had like a little celebration where we like we played a song on Alexa, and we just like a little dance party until the song ended.
I love dance parties. Okay, Ron.
Basically the same thing as Rudra. Like we had a little party and then we played the Allier song.
And sometimes Believer.
Yeah.
Gummy bear.
And
Gummy bear.
Gummy Bear.
Gummy Bear.
That was our
Yeah,
robot's
that was
name.
our robot name. Gummy Bear.
Gummy bear?
I have
Was
a
it
fun
green?
fact too.
Or was
Fun
it red?
fact.
I have a fun fact.
Oh, okay, fun
They
fact.
played the Gummy Bear song at the tournament because
We asked them to.
We asked them to, and almost immediately someone requested, "Can you play anything but the Gummy Bear song?" And we're like, "But this is the song!" So they played it till like halfway through and then just stopped it and
No,
played something
no, they
else.
actually played the whole thing.
Really like
Okay,
the song.
hold on, guys. Christopher needs a turn. What was the most memorable thing about this whole experience?
Near like the last week of the season, coming to practice almost every day of the week.
You like getting together and working on robots with your friends? That is pretty cool. Heather, what was your most memorable experience?
Oh, I don't know. It was so much fun. It was fun hanging out with these guys. These guys are great, getting to spend so much time with Christopher. At the other coaches and mentors, it was great spending so much time with them. I don't know. It was great. It was exhausting. I will not lie. It was terribly exhausting. You know, when you first start the season, you know, you print out everything on the coach's manual and the rules and everything, and it's a binder like this, and you're
Wow.
like, wow.
What did
What
I
do
get
we do?
myself into?
Yeah. So I remember the first meeting. We had a meeting just go over what was going to happen this year. And Robbie raises his hand and he goes, "Do you know you've been talking for 45 minutes?" So and I was like, "Yeah, I know. We have so much to tell you." And we learned as we went, and it was really, really great. It was exhausting, but it was great.
Excellent. Well, you know what, guys? We're out of time.
What?
Yeah. So I want to thank you guys, and I also want to congratulate you. You know, this is like totally mind-blowing that you guys are in 5th grade and you're coding robots and writing skits and researching what life is in space and all this kind of stuff. It's really, really cool. You can tell me after because we have to go, so I have to say goodnight to you guys, and thank you for coming on the show.
Welcome.
And I also want to thank our guests at home for viewing this evening. I hope you found our guests, our 5th graders, as inspirational as I have, and we'll see what happens, and I'll see you around town. Good night.
Good night.
I think we're out of time.